right, welcome to episode 11. I'd like to share a quote from when I was growing up. So it goes something like this: give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. This quote perfectly summarizes the episode. Please take the time to familiarize yourself with the type of questions in this section and how to answer it, so that you become as efficient as a supercomputer when you actually do take the test. In this video, we will discuss about part 7, reading comprehension today. First, I will list out the changes in part 7. Then we will discuss about the types of passages, which will then be followed by the types of questions. I will also be giving you useful tips to speed up your reading skills, which will ultimately help you to increase your reading efficiency. Okay, part 7 reading comprehension consists of reading passages of varying lengths accompanied by comprehension questions. So topics for reading passages may include emails, letters, memos, articles and reports, and advertisements, forms, notices, and maybe the text with charts, tables, graphs, or schedules. And in the new version, we will also see chat and text messages. There are a total of 54 items in this part, and basically you will see three types of reading: single, double, and triple. Before we talk about the passages in detail, let's highlight some of the changes we can see in the new version of the test. First change you can see is that the number of questions has been increased from 48 to 54. Second change is in the passages. You will now see triple text or triple passages. For reading materials in the passages, now it will include text messages and chat messages, which were initially not there in the older versions. Regarding the questions, there are two types of questions in addition to the 4 types of questions. One is placing a sentence in a suitable position, and another one is the writer's word in context. Like ETS, they say, like, with the updates, the overall quality and the difficulty of the TOEIC test is said to remain the same. Let's talk about the passages now. So in the first section of part 7, you will read approximately 10 single passages with a total of 29 questions. Each passage will have 2 to 4 questions. Knowing how passage is organized can help you find the information you need to answer questions quickly. In the reading test, you will encounter different types of passages. You have to learn to recognize the passage types, like general correspondence or advertisements, notices or articles, instruction forms, or graphical text, and nowadays we have text messages and chat messages. And in the double passages, that is in the second section, you read 2 pairs of passages, each with a set of 5 questions that apply to both the passages in the pair. This means you will have 10 questions to answer. Double passages have comprehension questions that are based on 2 separate but related passages, and a combination of passages may be found in the double passages. For example, the first passage may be a letter requesting for information about an event, and the second schedule for the event. For example, at least one question requires you to use information from both the passages to identify the correct answer option. In the third section, this is new. In the third section, you will see a set of 3 passages, each with a set of 5 questions as well. So this means there will be 15 items in the triple passages. There will be a few questions where you'll have to connect all 3 passages to find the answer. For each item, you will see 4 possible responses in the answer stem. Now let's talk about question types. You will find a variety of question types in part 7, reading comprehension. Understanding the question types not only increases your reading efficiency, but it also helps you exactly where to focus on while reading the materials. You will see 6 types of questions in part 7. They are the main idea. For example, what is the article mainly about? So it is similar to the ones we had in the listening section. And then we have detailed questions. What time does the last train leave? So this is an example. And then we have inference questions. What will probably happen next? The details will not be explicitly stated in the reading, so you will have to analyze the information and then you have to find the answer. And then we have vocabulary questions. So that is the word spectacle in line 7 is the closest meaning to, so you have to find the meaning. Alternative, there will be like 4 answers in the answer stem. And then the fifth one, this one is new, placing a statement in a suitable position. And the last one is writer's word in context. So I will teach you about this one later on. Let's talk about the questions one by one. Let's start with main idea questions. Main idea questions ask you about the main theme of the reading passage. Main idea questions are usually the first in the question set. So expect to see no more than one main idea question per passage. You will encounter different subtypes of main idea questions. The chart shows different types of main idea questions. For example, we have on the left hand side, you see main topic, that is subtype 1, and then we have the place, and then we have the purpose. So answer options include like noun phrases for main topics. For places include phrases with description of places, and for purpose you will often be seen with the infinitives. So on the right hand side you will see some questions. For main topic, so what is being discussed in the memo, so it is the main topic. For place, you can see what is the business about, okay. And for purpose, what is the purpose of the notice? So after understanding the main idea questions, I can give you the following 5 tips to answer these questions quickly. Look at this example, for instance. So this is the typical main idea question, and you can see like on the top it's like question 1 to 3 refer to the following letter. So this is a typical letter, and the main idea question is, what is the purpose of this letter? So the tip number 1 is where to find the main idea. So on the left hand side you can see the passage types, like that is correspondence, advertisement, notices, articles, instrument, forms, and graphical text. And in the middle you will see the type of main idea questions. So normally there are only 3 types: topic, place, and purpose. And where to find the main ideas is on the right hand side. If it's a correspondence, you should probably look at the first paragraph. It's advertisement, it's in the header. If it's a notice, it's in the header as well. And if it's a headline, if it's an article, you can see the headline or the first paragraph. So you can see the type of passages and where to find the main ideas. So tip number 2 is watch out for paraphrased information. Look at the example. Please call our offices on Monday morning for an update. So there are 2 options. Update about the office will be available on Monday. For new information, contact the company at the beginning of the week. So which one is the paraphrased information? So you have to know how the information is paraphrased. For tip number 3, eliminate answer options that focus on minor details. Look at the example. So you can check out for the main idea and 3 minor ideas. A new study shows that the performance-based payment may not be as effective as experts once believed. So this is the main idea or minor idea. You can check and you can solve it. And the tip number 4 is for main idea questions about place, pay attention to letterheads, addresses, and job titles. So for letterheads, for addresses, and job titles. And the last tip is about purpose. think about who the writer and the audience is. For example, key phrases that signal purpose. I'm writing to ask, I'm wanting to alert you, I need you, the letter serves as a notice. These are some example phrases that signal purpose. So the second type of question is the detailed question. So detailed questions ask about specific information from the passage. They are most common type of questions in part 7 and are used for all the passage types. You may encounter between 1 and 3 detailed questions per passage. There are 2 different subtypes of detailed questions. The chart has more information on the subtypes. So normally they will have 2 types of detailed questions: WH questions and the negative fact questions. So for example, look at the questions on the right hand side. For WH questions, we will see questions with who, what, when, where, and all the WH questions. And for negative form questions, that is with not. Which of the following is not true about X or Y or something like that? And which product is not available from online store? So for negative questions, you'll have to take your time. For detailed questions, these are the tips that I can give you. Number 1 is pay special attention to keywords. For example, you can see the WH questions: who, when, where, why, how, and how much, and what type of keywords to look for. For example, if it's a who, normally you have to see the names or job titles or positions. And if it's when, it's whether, time or date. And if it is where, so then probably they are looking at an office location. And why is explanation, cost, and the effect of relationship. And for how, explanation of the process. And how much is number of times, prices, discounts, or percentages. For negative fact, so that is tip number 2 is for negative fact question, watch out for list. You have to check every detail and then take out the one that is not true. And tip number 3 would be for negative facts, take your time. For example, Max was not instructed to buy which of the following items. So you have to check all the items and then take which one is not. For this, you have to take more time. And the third type of questions is the inference questions. So inference questions ask about information that is strongly implied in the passage. The correct answers for inference questions are not stated directly. However, the passage will provide enough information for you to draw the correct conclusion. So there are 2 types of inference questions. The chart shows the information on the subtypes. For example, normally the inference questions are of 2 types. One is general inference, and the example questions are like, what is suggested about X, or what can be inferred about X, or what will most likely occur. So this one is the general inference. And for another one is the intended audience. The questions like, who is the memo written for, or who will likely need the notice? So these are some of the intended audience. For inference questions, I can give you the following 3 hints for you to answer the questions. So for inference question, pay attention to the information about dates and location. Inference questions often use specific information about dates and location in the passage. You will then have to choose an answer option that generalizes the specific information. For example, the passage may give the exact date that an event is taking place. The correct answer may then involve determining that something took place before or after the given date. Look at the example. For example, this is a brochure. It's about a holiday cruise. Travel in style on our popular caravan cruise. So you have to check out the details and be very specific and pay attention to the details of the cruise. So tip number 2 is make sure your answer choice is supported by information in the passage. Although the passage won't give you answers directly, it will provide enough clues for you to be able to choose the correct answer. Once you have chosen an answer, return to the passage and find the parts that supports your answer. If you can't find information to support your answer, reconsider your choice. For example, look at the example. These inferences are based on the brochure in the previous graphic, and you have to see the Caribbean cruises last more than 1 week. The company offers several cruise dates in the summer, or the cruise makes at least 3 stops. You can look at the graphic and then you can answer it by yourself. The fourth type of question is the vocabulary questions. So vocabulary questions ask you to choose the answer options that has the same meaning as a word or a phrase from the passage. The questions will provide a word in quotation mark and will give you a line where the word can be found in the passage. In text with more than one paragraph, you may be given both the paragraph and the line number. Look at this one, for example. This is the reading, and these are the questions. In the first review, the word sanitize in line 1 is the closest meaning to A, B, C, and D. So these are the type of question that you can see. For vocabulary questions, so normally we'll see nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. So for detailed questions, I can give you the following 3 hints. So tip number 1 is find the word in the passage. For example, use the strategies for using context clues. For example, pay attention to examples that appear near the vocabulary word. If you are familiar with examples, you can use them to determine the meaning of the vocabulary word. For example, the keywords such as including consists of this, includes, along with, or like, right? So they keep copies of contract in a safe place along with other important documents. Look for keyword in that signal contrast from a previous idea. If you know the meaning of the word from the surrounding sentences, you will know that the question's word has an opposite meaning. Unlike X, on the other hand, while, but, however. While Lisa was always on time, Gertrude was regularly tardy. And tips number 2 would be try replacing the vocabulary word with each of the answer options. For example, candidate, renovations, and suspicious. The lobby will be closed for several months due to renewals. So you have to replace the words with the other options. Fifth question is the placing a statement in a suitable position. So placing a suitable statement in a suitable position is a new type of questions. It tests your understanding of the overall idea of the text and if you understand how the points are arranged in the reading material. You can understand the flow of the ideas of the different passages, and the understanding of that is vital to answer the question. For placing a statement in a suitable position, I can give you the following tips. First, read the statement correctly and try to get an idea and try to understand what the idea they are trying to convey in the paragraph. Number 2 is scan the full possible spaces and try reading the sentence before and after the blank. So this will help you to plug in the answer in the correct space. Number 6 is the writer's word in context. So this is also a new type of questions, and this is intended to test your knowledge and understanding of short text and their inferred meaning. You should also be able to connect the short text with previous or later text, often with multiple writers, sort of like a group chat. For writer's word, I can give you the following tips. So be aware of chat languages. So especially in group chats, the kind of messages we send is not very formal. And number 2 is business collocation, the different vocabulary that is used in different industry. And 3 is be aware of conversational language and not so formal language. So that is formal and informal languages. You need to be aware of that. So look at the type of questions here, for example. Well, this brings to the end of the briefing of some sort for reading comprehensions. So before we end, let me remind what's coming in the next 3 videos. So next 3 videos will focus on single, double, and triple passages. So we are almost there at the end, so let us not falter now. So keep going and keep growing.